Okay, so I am making nettle pesto for the first time. Never done this before, but I think it's gonna work out. I just went and clipped my fresh little baby nettles out in the garden, and right now I'm just rinsing them off and then trimming them. I'm just trimming the leaves off, and what I'm gonna do is throw them in boiling water for just 2 minutes. I read a few different accounts of how long you should boil them. Some people say you can just throw them in a food processor without boiling them. But I'm just going to boil them for 2 minutes to get the sting off of them, and then I'm going to make my pesto. Alright, so I've got my water boiling, and I'm just going to put the nettle leaves in there. I've got them all separated off and cleaned, and I'm just using my glove again because I don't want to get stung. Whoa. Okay, that's kind of a lot of leaves. Okay. I'm thinking they're gonna boil down kind of like spinach. There we go. Alright, timer, 2 minutes. Alright, so the stinging nettles are done with their 2 minutes of boiling water, and now I'm just gonna strain them and then squeeze them out. So I did kind of mash them a little bit using the strainer, but I'm just gonna roll them up in this cloth. Just a clean kitchen towel. You could use paper towels like this, but I try not to use those with food, just in the event that they leach dioxin or whatever else is in there. Whoa, that's hot. This method, by the way, is also really good for drying your clothing if you're in a hotel room. Alright, so they are dried out, I think, and they're still going to be warm. It's pretty dry. You can see that big pot of nettles just made this little roll right here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just make this pesto. So I'm going to put the garlic in, and the lemon, and probably the olive oil, and zing that up first. I try to do that first just so the garlic gets really cut up, and I don't want to run the food processor too long with the nettles in there, because then they'll just be like mushy nettle soup. Putting a whole lemon in might be a little bit too lemony, but I think it'll be pretty good. Got a whole lemon. Pine nuts I'll put in later. I'm going to put in like about a teaspoon of salt. And a couple squigs of olive oil. And I'll just zing that first. Alright, so the garlic's pretty much cut up. And I have some fresh chives from the garden that I'm going to put in. It's just springtime, and those guys are coming up the same time as the nettles are. I usually don't put those in a pesto, but I think they'll be pretty good. Those are pine nuts. And here is the big nettle log. I'm just going to put this, I guess I'll just put it in like that. See how it goes. Alright, here we go. And I don't want to chop this up too much. Stir that just a little bit. It's looking pretty good. A few stems in there. And I know some people with pesto add, you know, cheese and that kind of thing, but I'm not really a cheese eater. So this is the still warm nettle pesto, which I suppose you're supposed to eat with a cracker, but oh my god, it's so good. Oh honey. It's so good. Oh.